Okay, everybody, welcome to the Cowboy Perspective. This is one of those interviews that is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do some different things. I've got a video screen here where I can pull up some stuff, and me and Jim are just going to talk. By the way, Jim Sharp is with me. Jim, thanks for coming. Thanks for doing this. I got all these cameras pointing at him and lights. I'm like, you ever done this before? No. But we're going to explore his career. And if you don't know who Jim Sharp is, hopefully by the end of this conversation, you'll get a good insight into some of his accomplishments, some of the stuff he's done. You might be a little more familiar with some of his running buddies that have been a little more, I guess, in the limelight. If you want to talk about Ty, Tough, Lane, you were right there with all those guys, Cody Lambert. What was that like? Kind of, were any of those guys, are they like the world thinks they are? Or are they different?
Oh, I don't know. They all got a different personality. They're all really good guys. And, I was fortunate enough to have a good crew like that to rodeo with.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a rookie, Tough asked me to rodeo with them. So I entered every rodeo they did, and we traveled together. It was Tough and Lane Frost and Cody Lambert and I.
Yeah.
And we rodeoed that year. I was a rookie in 86 and 87. And then when Ty come along in 88, him and Cody rodeoed together.
Yeah.
It was me and Lane and Tough and a guy named Clint Bronger.
Man, that's just a bunch of kind of who's who of bull riding in those years. And
Yeah,
really,
that was pretty much, we were at the top of our game, and them other bull riders hated to see our car pull up.
Yeah, right. What got you into bull riding? Like, I've never even asked you that question. It's like, we gather cattle, we work cattle, we've spent time together a lot. I don't think I've ever said, Razor, why'd you ever even ride your first bull?
Yeah, my dad roped calves a little bit, and he never competed. He just did it as a hobby. We'd go out there and he'd rope and tie the calf down and untie it. And when he'd get it untied, I'd get on it and try to ride it to the end of the arena.
Yeah.
That's how I got started. Started when I was 5, riding calves. It was me and my dad out there in a rodeo arena, and just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
And
so you were around it. It wasn't like you, what'd your mom and dad do, or what was your family like?
Well, my dad, he worked for the telephone company. He was a cowboy, but he didn't cowboy for a living. But, we always had horses. And like I said, he rode. My mom, she was kind of a cowgirl that her family, she grew up in a kind of a cowboy family, ranching. But we lived there in a little small town, Kermit, Texas. We lived in town there. And there wasn't a lot of cowboys in Kermit.
Right.
None of my friends rode bulls. None of them rodeoed. Any of my friends rodeoed. I was the only one in high school or junior high that ever rodeoed.
Yeah.
And me and my dad we just kind of did it on our own. He didn't know much about it. I guess we figured the more you got on with more calves I got on, the faster I'd learn. That's kind of how I got started.
Sure.
And then I just come up through the junior rodeos.
Do you remember the first time you ever thought, man, I'm pretty good at this? Or did you ever think that?
I don't think so. I don't think I really thought that until afterwards.
Right.
Right.
Even when you're winning, riding all 10 bulls at the NFR, you never thought, man, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, no, I never really thought that,
That's crazy, I mean, I think that might be a piece of what made you so good.
Yeah.
You never did think, man, I'm good, or, I got this figured out.
Yeah. And, it's kind of funny, it's a few years after I quit riding, bulls, and they put a deal on the PBR about me, and it showed some of my good rides on there. And I thought, I guess I did all right.
Yeah, all right.
But at the time, I never thought, I never thought that.
So why were you doing it?
I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself that now.
Right.
There's always something, I don't even know what made me want to start riding, from the time I can remember, that's all I wanted to do was be a bull rider. And we'd get to go, me and my family, we'd get to go to the rodeo at Odessa, Texas.
Yeah.
And we'd get to go to the rodeo at Pecos, Texas. We went to 2 rodeos a year, and I get to see them guys, Donnie Gay and them guys. And
That's I was about to ask, who do you remember? Like, who'd you look up to?
yeah, I remember Donnie Gay. That's about the only one I remember.
Yeah.
And I never really had no heroes to look up to because that's the only 2 rodeos I ever seen as a kid,
Right.
And they used to play one go around at the finals, the 10th go around at the finals on TV when I was a kid. And that's the only rodeo we seen professional. We went to a lot of junior rodeos, but really didn't have somebody I looked up to.
Kind of model. You never thought, man, I want to ride like that guy or do that.
No, I never at all. These days, you have a lot more, the younger kids see the guys a lot more,
Yeah.
because it's on TV, but.
Wow, that's all really interesting. Okay, so let's go back to your family a little bit. I'm going to move too fast, and I want people to get to know you. I want them to hear your kind of whole story because it's really just awesome. And there's parts of it I don't know. I'm curious about. So did you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother and one sister.
Yeah.
My brother.
Did they rodeo?
They didn't rodeo. My brother, when he was probably 6 or 7, I tried to get him to become a bull rider and got him all fixed up. He got on one calf and got underneath it, stomped his ear, and that was the end of his career.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got my brother. My family. I got a great family, but my brother, we grew up in the same house, but he don't even own a pair of cowboy boots.
Right. Well, isn't that's so interesting how same blood, same house, and just interested in different stuff.
And he was a preacher for a while, and then he's been a professor at Tarleton.
Yeah.
For however long.
What does he
20
teach?
years or some kind of computer stuff.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't know nothing about it.
What's his name?
Jason.
Hey, Jason, you got to get Jim up on this computer stuff. You ought to see him in here. It's funny.
Yeah, I asked him one time, I said, Jason, you got any of my friends in your class? And he said, you ain't got no friends smart enough to be in my class.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
He's a really good guy, and he's Tom Reeves, the saddle bronc rider, world champion saddle bronc rider. He joined up in Jason's class one time at Tarleton.
Oh yeah,
and I think Jason's class, is pretty advanced stuff. And
yeah.
Anyway, Jason said, Tom, what are you in here for? He said, well, I just want to learn the computer kind of stuff. And he didn't even know how to turn one on. And Jason said, well, you don't need this class. He said, I'll come out to your house one day and I'll show you
how to turn it on.
How to turn it on. And anyway, he went out there and got that. But that's pretty funny. He told me, you ain't got no friends smart enough to be in my class.
Tom Reeves, that guy could ride, couldn't he?
He could ride.
That's going to be fun in our conversation, just the people you just talk about, because you were just there with them. Like you were just at the NFRs with them, at the rodeos with them. Okay, so there we go. We explored your family. What about your sister? What's she like? What's her story? Anything?
She just grew up there in Kermit, and she still lives there at Kermit and teaches school there at the junior high.
Well, hey, hats off to your sister, because that teaching stuff is so important. And it's so underappreciated. I'm not sure there's a way to ever appreciate it enough.
Oh, no. There's not, and they don't get paid near enough, and teaching is way harder than bull riding.
Yeah. They're responsible for helping us raise our kids. In a lot of cases, they raise the kids.
Yes, sir.
For that town, for this country. So to all the teachers out there, coaches, administrators, I sit on the school board here in Comanche, so I see a little bit of it too. They just do a lot.
Yeah. I got a lot of respect for them people.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. I got this pulled up. I don't even know what this is. It's Pro Bowl stats. Let's see here. Oh, you said something to me one time. I wanted to be sure and get on here. I said, Jim, when did you ride your last bull? And you said, well, I quit getting on and sometime or another, but I quit riding a long time before that.
Yeah. Yeah. I quit riding in 2003, but I was still getting on in 2005.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stay on.
Isn't that interesting about people's careers and yours and probably other bull riders and rodeo athletes? How sometimes that's just a truth of it. I mean, bull riding seems maybe even more so, even those rough stock events, all of them. Like, you got to be really on top of your game to match those animal athletes. What do you think? Were you just not as interested? Were you just getting older and losing a step? I mean, I know you work out and stay in shape. What happened there?
Both, just both. I mean,
Yeah.
You lose, I never thought I'd lose the want to ride a bull like I did, but,
Eventually
I
it
rode
happened.
professional for 20 years and, over time you lose some of that want to, and, your body's not there like it was, when you was 21, when you're 35, it's just everything. And I rode a little bit, a couple of years too long. But I guess that's all I knew, and I don't guess I knew how to do something else.
That's all you knew, and
knew something.
didn't know what
I
else.
kind of hurt my knee, and I thought I was going to lay off for a little bit and it get well and come back, but the want to wasn't there, and if you don't really want to, I figure you don't have no business riding bulls.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the life or death thing.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever think about it like that? I mean, so far you've surprised me with every answer, so I got to just keep asking them. You never thought, man, I'm pretty good at this till after you'd retired and quit and look back. You never really had anybody to look up to that, man, I want to ride like them. So what about the fear factor of it? What was that like for you? Did you have fear? I don't know. Just tell me and whoever might be listening. How'd you process the truth of what you were doing?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd call it fear. I mean, I guess there's some bulls, I got on that pretty scary to get on, but I just I just try not to think about that. I loved it so much, and I think I guess fear is, that what makes it so much fun sometimes, because
Right.
it's dangerous and exciting, gets your adrenaline going, and trying to be the best at something that's really dangerous.
Yeah. Like, I think you're just a competitive guy. So, did you play sports in high school or do any of that kind of stuff?
I did. I played when I was little. I played all the sports, basketball and baseball. And when I got in high school, I just rode bulls and I played football, and I pole vaulted in track.
Yeah.
I really love football. That was, and I went to a little school, so I got to play. I got to play a lot. I don't know how good I mean, I probably wouldn't have been what I was. If I went to one of them big schools at Dallas or something. But I think for my size and everything, I went to a right size school where, I was the hero football.
Yeah.
I was defensive player of the year. And
Oh, cool. What
most
position
valuable
did you play?
I played nose guard.
Nose guard.
Yeah.
Were you the biggest guy on the team?
No, I was about the smallest guy on the team.
Really?
But I was like 140-pound nose guard. But
So how were you successful then? See, I think that's a great illustration of life sometimes. Sometimes you're the little guy in amongst the big guys. How did you make defensive player of the year?
I just, I just felt like, when that ball snapped and every play, I just tried to knock that center's head off.
Yeah.
And and they in high school, being tougher than the other guys pays off. I think. And when you get to college and they recruit all these other guys and they're just as tough as you, but they weigh 100 more pounds than you, they might have a little more advantage.
That's right. That's right. I'm looking on the computer some more. I'm seeing some more pictures I'm going to put over here on this other screen. Uh-oh. Yeah, there they went. How about that? Can you remember back to let's say you said a minute ago, how long's it been since you, like, how long you think it's, like, you mentioned it a second ago, but since you rode or was competitive? 20 years?
Yeah, 2005. So, I hadn't been on a bull in
15, yeah.
And
about 18 years,
17
years.
No, probably, longer than that competitive.
Yeah,
I was getting,
right.
like I said earlier, I was getting on, but
yeah.
I wasn't winning much.
I pulled a picture up of Lane and Tuff and you. I don't even know where it is, but it makes me just think that was some pretty cool stuff. And Lane's story is surely well known. I mean, what was his personality like? I mean, you were with him, you've been around him. A lot of us never got that chance. Can you remember that? What would you say you remember about him?
Lane, he's probably one of the nicest guys that I ever met in my whole life,
Yeah.
And, I think that's why he's still today, a lot of people know who Lane Frost is, and
yeah,
he's been gone for a long time, and he is a great bull rider, but he won, one world championship, but you got guys out there that's won a lot more than he did that they don't even know their name.
Right.
But Lane is just that kind of guy. I mean, he loved everybody, friendly to everybody, just always, if he was around him, he was happy.
You bet. I mean, I think that they made a movie about him, so that helps his legacy a bunch. But yeah, his just warm personality, which is pretty much what anybody you ever ask about Lane Frost is going to tell you.
Yeah, you said it right there. Just hit it. Warm personality. That was him. And I think that picture was at Las Vegas at the finals.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was fun. And before, when I was a rookie, them guys they were in their prime, and that was the top guys.
That's kind of cool. Did that help you? Do you think the fact that you got to get in and go rodeo with those guys?
Oh, I think so. Maybe entering, maybe, but
did they have a mindset that you picked up on?
I think I had the mindset before I got there.
Yeah.
I mean, because my mindset then, that's what I was going after.
Right.
I go buckle. I don't care if I rodeo with Tuff or Lane or by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them guys. It's great going with them, and is to get to go with them. But I think I could have done it on my own.
Yeah.
Because I was serious, and I was after it. And I won a couple, and then later on, I rode good, but I didn't have the want to like I did before I got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was.
So I think my riding kind of went down, a little bit.
Once you won a world championship, you kind of, I did that now, and
yeah, and I kind of, it wasn't more that important to me, and I let other stuff kind of get in my way sometimes. Sometimes the party was bigger than the bull riding, just stuff like that. And I look at a guy like Donnie Gay that won it 8 times, and to me that's amazing to stay in the game that long, and to have that focus for that long.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of really interesting.
And I won a lot, and I look back at it, and some of it's kind of disappointing that I didn't do. Me and my fiance was talking about it last night. I booked off that one bull to ride 10 bulls, twice in a row.
Oh yeah.
She was talking about you rode 10 bulls. I said, well, so a couple other guys have too, but if I'd done it twice,
Right. Then
then
nobody done that.
nobody done that. And I was thinking, if I'd won another NFR, I'd have been the only one that done that. But now I'm tied with Denny Flynn because he's won 3 too. And it's always, if I'd have went one more step on a lot of things.
You're talking about winning the average at the
winning
NFR?
the average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you were the first guy to ride all 10
Yes, sir.
at the NFR. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's real cool. And I almost wish Ty was here because he adds color to all of these commentaries.
Oh yeah.
But he tells this story, and I'm going to mess it up a little bit, but the gist is about right. You're getting ready to get on that 10th bull, 10th round, rode all 9 before that. If you do this, you're going to have a mark by your name nobody else can ever get because you're the first to ever do it. And he walks behind the chutes about 5 minutes before you're getting on. You're just eating a hot dog. It's just like, you're just cool like that. But I love how you think your personality also is interesting, very interesting to me because like me, I always thought, man, I need to be with the best guys for me to have any chance.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I mean, I was with them, but I didn't need them. I could do that. I knew where I was going. That's really cool. I think everybody could take a little something from that. You remember that hot dog?
Yeah. I always ate hot dogs before I got on. It's always hungry. I used to always tease me about going to the concession stand.
Yeah, right. That's fun thing about rodeo too, isn't it? All the teasing.
Oh yeah.
Everybody gets teased about one thing or another.
Yeah, and then that's a fun part of rodeo, and the guys I rodeo, there's a fun crowd to go with. They teased you all the time.
Yeah,
and that's, to me, that's what makes it fun.
Sure. That's missing in the world today a little bit, right? Nobody seems like it's harder these days for people to take a little teasing.
I do too. I mean, they take it like serious, like they get their feelings hurt.
Right.
Like I say, some guys, they wouldn't make it in my day.
That is a cowboy perspective for sure. Like if you can't take a little razzing, teasing, making fun of something about you, I don't care if there's nothing wrong with you. They'll find a thing to make fun of.
Oh yeah, they'll find something.
It'll be because there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Something is you're gonna get tested. Your skin's gonna get tested to see if you can handle it. Well, so you got a son now. What are you gonna do about him? You gonna put him on a bull?
No, sir. He don't want to ride bulls.
Yeah.
He likes sports. He plays football and basketball and baseball, and we rode a little bit when he was young. He wore a cowboy hat every day. He wouldn't go anywhere without his cowboy hat, and wore Wranglers, wore little pearl snap shirts, and then when he discovered the ball, his cowboy days are over. But I'm really proud of him. And I told him, if you want to ride bulls, we'll ride bulls. If you want to play tennis, we'll play tennis. Whatever you want to do, I expect you to whatever you do, to try hard and be your best at it. But I'm not going to pick it for you.
Yeah.
But he plays his sports, and he does really good, and he really hustles, and that's what I'm proud of him the most of,
sure.
and stuff like that.
You never know. I mean, it's going to be his journey, right? He might come back to some kind of rodeo thing over time, but it's interesting. Like Ty's the same way. Neither one of you are really pushing your kids towards rodeo. It's really, what do y'all want to do? Let's go do that.
Right.
Let's go be the best we can be at that. But rodeo is a tough thing. I mean, it's tough. So you know what they're getting into if they go off on that path.
Yes, sir. And like I said, he may come back to it, or come back to wanting to ride, but right now he's not interested at all at it. He's got his sport. He does really good in schools, his grades, and he's a pretty good kid.
It's a crazy cool thing to have a kid, isn't it?
It is.
You're just so proud of them.
I know. That's what I think. Like my bull riding stuff, when I had my boy, Like, it don't even matter no more.
Right.
I don't care if I ever want a dime.
Yeah.
As long as my boy, as long as he's
Yeah.
happy and I can go watch him
Yep.
and take care of him and try to raise him to be a good person. And
Yeah.
everything I did, it don't matter to me no more.
Well, it kind of is the truth, right? I mean, it's fun to accomplish those things because you wanted to, but what's going to happen to all those buckles one of these days? I mean,
Yep.
somebody's going to, Will might have to put them in a box or your grandkids, you
Yeah.
just someday.
So, yeah, someday
Somebody
it happened.
won't care.
And when I never thought I'd have a kid, but when I did, I mean, it was like
Yeah.
the best thing ever.
Yeah. I tell you, just knowing you could see it, the change in you. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh man, this is a different deal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was looking over here. So you're in the PBR Ring of Honor, a 2-time PRCA World Champ. I don't even know how up to date this stuff is. I'm just guessing it is. ProBullStats.com. Hey, shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
They got some stuff up here. A 7-time NFR qualifier, a 7-time PBR finals, and a top tier rider. What was that like? What was the PBR like? You were right there in the thick of all that. I've seemed to have heard stories about this little bull riding place in Odessa. Do you know what I'm talking about? Wasn't there a little?
Yeah, Dos Amigos.
Dos Amigos. All right. So talk about that a little bit. What was that like? Where'd that come from?
Oh, there's just a little spot in Odessa there. There's a friend of ours. It's just a little eating place, kind of little bar type thing, and it had a big old yard out there. And he put some couple bucking chutes and used to have bull ridings there, and we rode there a lot and got on a lot of bulls over there. And it's just a fun place.
Was that one of the first places that would just have bull riding?
Oh, I think so. And there wasn't a lot of bull rides, but once they started up, they got pretty popular everywhere.
Yeah.
And then everybody wanted to put on a bull riding, and everybody wanted to have the best guys there, no matter how much money they put up. And so that's kind of how the PBR started. And
yeah.
We all got together, and say, if you want these guys, and you should put up a little more money than
Just the
somebody
anybody's.
else.
Yeah.
Just anybody's. So
did you practice?
No, I never did practice too much. When I was small, when I first started riding calves, I just got on a few of those. And when I started entering the steer riding, I got on just a few practice steers, and the bulls I probably just been on a handful of practice bulls.
Really? So it's just compete, learn in the middle of it. See, that's crazy about rodeo. You had to pay an entry fee to go try to get better and hope along the way you could win some money.
Yeah, that's what.
Wow.
But I kind of, when I in the steer riding, I started when I was 9. It's 12 and under steer riding, and by the time I got to 12 years old, I won second, won reserve. And then when I moved up to junior bulls, 13 to 15 bulls, I couldn't ride them, couldn't stay on them.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any good. But when I was 15, I got to where I could ride them. I won the championship when I was 15. And then when I moved up to 16 through 19, the bigger bulls, tougher bulls, I couldn't stay on them. And when I was 16, I got on 50 bulls, and I stayed on 2.
Really?
Is all. But then when I turned 17, everything clicked, and I got on 50 bulls, and I rode all 50 except for 2. I got bucked off.
Oh, really?
Year.
Wow, that's
cool. Got bucked off twice. And then I won the championship when I was 17, 18, and 19. So I just kind of progressed up.
Did y'all hear that, folks? Jim, multiple-time world champion, spent time in his career riding only 2 of 50. You got to go through that in life sometimes. You got to go through those lessons. You got to fight through it, stick with it. I think that's kind of one of those cowboy things. Don't quit. I'm afraid today somebody says, well, I only rode 2 out of 50. I'm just no good. I quit. Can't be a world champion with that kind of thought process. What do you think?
I think the same thing. That's anything that's tough and to be a champion at is going to take work for most people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of anybody that just goes out there and does it, without some hard work put into it.
Yeah. And willingness to fail. Like, you got to be okay. Like, you got to go challenge the stuff that you can't do if you're ever going to do that.
Yep. To get better. Sure do.
Did you ever win a PBR World Championship?
No, I never did win a PBR World Championship. My best year chance was in 2002.
Yeah.
I think I ended up 4th.
Yeah.
I should have won it that year, but I didn't. That's another one of the things I just
should have done.
Should have done.
Well, what happened?
I just
fell off a couple you shouldn't have.
Didn't get it done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of cool just to be there, though, right? What about all this bull riding this now? Like, let's think about it in today. Do you pay attention to it at all today? Do you watch it? Do you know any of the guys riding?
No, I don't know too many other guys anymore. I just catch it on TV every once in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the PBR finals in a couple of years, but I like to go back out there, but I don't hardly know any of them anymore.
Right. Is the luster a little bit gone? Like, hey man, I've done it. I've been there, I find myself, I was never a champion rodeo cowboy by any means, but I rodeoed. Going to rodeos for myself, I don't really do that. Now, I take my kids because they like it and it's fun and they want to watch the barrel racing and that kind of stuff. Is that how it feels to you?
It is, and I still like to go watch every once in a while, but, it don't interest me near like it used to,
Right. When it's everything you do for your life, I think it's probably true with even football players, baseball players. I mean, that's their life. It's just different going and watching.
Yes.
Unless maybe you own the team or something like that. What about this Brazilian way of holding the rope and all that? You got any thoughts on that?
I don't have any thoughts on that. I don't really know what the difference is.
Oh, yeah. Were there Brazilians up here and whenever you were in the PBR? Had Adriano or some of those Brazilian guys showed up yet?
Yes, sir. Adriano was here. There wasn't a lot of them over here, but Adriano was come over here, and I think he come over here and probably in the early 90s, probably.
Yeah.
And really good bull rider.
Sure. And I would say they changed the sport.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Brazilians, but that's just, I'm probably lumping a lot of nationalities and countries into Brazilians because I think there's some other countries in there, but maybe it's because Adriano was from Brazil and some of the most recent really good ones are there. But I always thought that was interesting. They just tied the rope exact opposite of how the bull riders for all those years had done. And I thought that was cool to just totally flip it on its head and think about it differently. I think the point of it is to not hang up as much.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't really know what it does for you or don't do for you, but I know some of them guys can really ride.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I don't, that guy that's winning right now, I don't think it'd matter what kind of rope he had on.
Right.
I mean, he can ride.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it.
Right. Well, and I've heard it said, you might be the greatest of all time, right? I mean, that's kind of cool to think about. Somebody would think about your riding in that way. Jim was the greatest of all time, even against the guys today. People they don't know it. They weren't there. Ty's one of the guys that really says that. If I had to pick a best one, and there's a lot of good ones, I think Jim might just have been the best. And it's so cool to see your attitude towards it. Cool, yeah, I'm going. I mean, I'll go with y'all. Cool. That'd be fun too, but I'm going. Have you ever thought about that? Like, man, somebody thinks I'm the best of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I just, when they put me in the same sentence as Tuff Edelman or Donnie Gay or Ty Murray, that's awesome for
That's
me.
a pretty good compliment.
To me, to me, I can't pick the greatest there ever was, because if you put them all up at the same night in the same era, I figure all of them's going to be champions.
Right.
I mean, I think if Donnie Gay rode today, I think he'd be a champion.
Yeah.
I think, just different.
It's like trying to guess who's the best basketball player of all time. It's almost guys like me just wanting to have the debate, right?
Yeah,
Like, okay, cool. What was good about him, or what was good about him? Oh yeah, but he couldn't ride these bulls into his hand. Yeah, but he could make the biggest move. All these different. What really is true is there's the greats, and you know who they are, and we were just blessed that they came along and made the sport what they did and entertained us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of, and then there's the greats of all the different eras or whatever, to me. But like I said, if you put Donnie Gay or Tuff Edelman's attitude riding today, they're going to win. They're going to win it. They're going to win it.
Tell me a little bit about their attitude. What did you notice about them?
I mean, just the attitude to win, they just bared down so hard and wanted to be the champ. I think they could do it in whatever year it is, whether it's 1950 or 2020. I think the bulls are better now, or have a way more better bulls now.
Right.
But if, like I said, if Donnie Gay was riding them type of bulls every day today, he'd be hard to beat.
Yeah.
Or Tuff Edelman.
Yeah.
Or, Ty Murray.
Sure.
Like Ty, to me, he's one of the greatest bull riders ever.
Yeah.
Most people think of him as an all around, which he is, but
right.
If you go back and look at his percentages of riding and how much he won in the bull riding, it's a bunch.
Yeah,
and he won 2 PRCA World Championships
in the bull riding while he's doing all those
other events,
all around titles too.
And then he never won the PBR, but his runner up probably several times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so much fun to explore it, to think about it. Now, okay, so we've talked a lot about bull riding. What do you like to do these days? Besides, we talked about Will, so you watch him play. What do you raise bulls? Do you do cowboy stuff? Like, just what do you do these days? I know you're about to get married. Congratulations there.
I think you're getting married, but then I have my boy. I go. He don't live with me. He lives a couple of hours from me in Wichita Falls, but I pretty much go up there. I have him every other weekend, and then off weekends he usually has a game, so I don't miss none of his games. Very seldom do I miss a game, so I go up there, and I love to do cowboy work. I love to work cattle. I love to brand calves and flank calves, and that's my favorite thing to do right now. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
And
do you still get in the gym?
I do. I still work out. And usually try to work out 3 days a week.
Yeah.
In the gym. And like you, you invite me to come over and brand calves. And that's what I like to do now.
Oh, yeah.
I like that stuff as good as I used to like to bull ride.
I'm so glad you like it too, because we need help.
Yeah. And that's and I appreciate you guys, and like Buddy Lane, and which I'm no great cowboy now, but I've learned so much from you guys that I think I'm a little better help than I used to be.
Oh man. I promise you, I wouldn't trade you. I mean, seriously. And it is, you learn, like, you're just naturally that way. You're kind of guy that if you like it, you're going to get good at it because you do it. You like it. I mean, I don't know. Let's go back. What was it? Maybe 15 years ago, we started working cattle and stuff. How many cows had you branded by at that point?
Yeah, not too
Not
many.
many. So, but now I think you know as much about, and that's a different thing than riding bulls. It's gathering, it's reading cattle, it's knowing how to rope, it's knowing how to handle your horse. It's a bunch of different, it's just a different skill set. You picked it right up.
Yeah.
Like you're just good at picking stuff up like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy that. And I have a few friends that I get to go help them. And I'd rather do that than anything right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's interesting. Can we explore that? Like, I know that don't pay very good. So how do you do something to make money?
Well, I day work a little bit like that. And then, I was part of the PBR when it sold. So that kind of come along at a good time to that was kind of like my retirement.
All right.
Try to invest my stuff where, so I don't just go blow it.
What did you do?
I'm pretty tight. So
yeah,
it don't take much for me to, I don't have to have big fancy cars or houses or anything like that.
Well, now, see, I've heard stories that you've been out in Vegas and gambling, and so you're talking about being tight. Now, is this all made up?
They said that guy looked a lot like me. I was out there losing all that money in Vegas.
Yeah, he looked a lot like me. It wasn't me. That's good, but that's kind of some of that's part of the story too. That cowboy life, like you even mentioned it shortly. Like sometimes you let the party get a little bigger than it needed to be to be successful at bull riding. I think that's good advice for bull riders, businessmen, gymnasts, just anybody. You got to think about that. Look, you got to be diligent on that side of your life too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff you can get away with when you're younger, but after takes a toll on your body a little bit, and you got to do different things to keep you on top of your game.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had good times out partying and gambling.
Yeah.
But them days are gone.
Right, sure. Well, I talked to Randy Bernard. He came on. And did you sit on the board of the PBR? Were you on the board?
I never was on the board.
Well, he was just telling stories of the boardroom breaking out in a fight. Cody pointing at Tough, and Tough told him, "Don't point at me again." Well, Cody pointed at him again. Next thing you know, they're fighting. Then that's the night Tough got headbutted by Bodacious.
Yeah.
And then Cody's sitting in the hotel room with him all night, That's kind of how cowboys relate. They argue hard, but they love hard too. Jim, I really appreciate you coming, talking to me about your career, your life, all those things you've done. I think there's a lot of cool stuff for people to take from this conversation, right? Just to see how Jim thought about stuff. Look, really, you should Google Jim Sharp and just watch some of his rides, listen to stuff people say about him, because Jim won't say it about himself. I mean, I can't even hardly get him to do it right now in this interview, but he's done some big things. And he just thought about it like, okay, that's what I want to do, and I'm going to go do it. Have you got, let's say, what's one of the main things you tell your son about life? Do you have anything you're like, man, I just really want you to know this?
No, I think my main goal is to raise him to be honest, to really try to, at whatever he does, to respect people and their stuff. That's my main goal is, and I hope he does great in sports or whatever, but to me, it's learning how to be a good person and whatever it is, sports or playing the piano or whatever it is, to do your best and be good at whatever you are. And like I said, it's up to him to how good he is in sports or whatever. But I want him to have the respect for the other players and people around him, older people. And that's my main goal of raising him.
I'm just being quiet because that's great advice. Everybody, scroll that back about 20 seconds and listen again, because that's a secret to life, what Jim's talking about right there. Learn how to live like that, be that kind of person. And I think it is a great spot to call this episode of the Cowboy Perspective done. I thank y'all for listening. We hadn't even scratched the surface of all the stuff we could have talked about, but I hope you've got a chance to meet a guy that I know doesn't do this kind of stuff very often. And I appreciate him so much for giving me the chance to showcase him on the Cowboy Perspective. And Jim, I want to thank you really just for being my friend, for coming and working cattle with us and being a mentor to me, whether you're trying to or not. You know, I just look up to you and I see how you think about stuff. It makes me want to think about things that way too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you inviting me over, and I love working cattle with you guys. That's one of the highlights of my life. And like I said, you invite me over to work cattle and brand calves, and you let me rope a lot. And I figure I better get over and do that radio interview. I don't want to, but I better get over.
See, that's good. I just shamed you into it. I also thought, before we call it all over, I need to give old Kirky a shout out, because the truth is, without Kirk Roberts, let me live with him, and really through Clay McKesson, just how we get to know each other, right, is so cool. I remember I knew you for a long time, and you were, one day we started working cattle or riding horses or something. You looked at me and said, Neil, you ride horses? Like, where'd that come from? Because for a long time, I was just wearing a beanie and, you know. So, Kirky, shout out, man. I mean, that was some fun times. And
yeah, that's Kirky. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and you're right. I never even knew you as a cowboy. You used to wear that little toboggan or whatever, beanie, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I better give a shout out to my fiance, Misty.
Yeah, that's good. What does Misty do? I'm just curious. You mentioned, was it real estate?
Well, she's done some real estate, and mostly when she was married the first time, and she has a couple teenage girls, and
yeah,
she's just pretty much been a stay-home mom. She's raised 2 girls, and so, but we get along really good and have a lot of fun. And
man, that's what it's all about. I mean, huge congratulations to y'all, Misty. I look forward to the day I get to meet you and hug you and just sympathize with living with Jim.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're going to wish he'd have talked to you a little more than he did.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. See you later. Catch you next time.